Good evening. This is your evening briefing for Friday, the 17th of April, 2026. The day's biggest theme is the ripple effect of Middle East tensions, with moves on fuel supply, shipping and diplomacy all making headlines. Australian regulators, planners and emergency crews also feature, alongside a US aviation char. Leading the briefing, Anthony Albanese says Australia has used new strategic reserve powers to secure an extra 100 million litres of diesel for the domestic market, with fuel coming from Brunei and South Korea. He says it will arrive in 2 cargoes totalling 570,000 barrels, and he is fast-tracking his return from Malaysia after a refinery fire raised clear consequences for fuel supply as repairs progress. Also in the briefing, the US military says it is widening enforcement beyond Iran's ports, allowing forces worldwide to stop vessels tied to Iran or suspected of carrying goods that could benefit Tehran. Officials say that includes ships carrying weapons, oil, metals or electronics, and they will actively pursue any Iranian-flagged vessel or any vessel providing material support to Iran. Meanwhile, a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon has taken effect after an announcement by President Donald Trump aiming to pause fighting involving Hezbollah. The deal follows direct talks in Washington and lets Israel defend itself against planned or ongoing attacks while avoiding offensive military operations against Lebanese targets during the truce. In other developments, Emmanuel Macron and Keir Starmer are hosting an international summit in Paris to advance plans to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, with dozens of countries taking part and the United States excluded. The talks follow the shutdown of the vital shipping route and are being framed as a strictly defensive effort for non-belligerent countries when security conditions allow. Elsewhere, the AFP is working to identify children depicted in alleged child abuse material found on devices seized from a Sydney man. He has been in custody since July 2025 and now faces 137 charges after a further forensic review of about 2.4 million files, with investigators expecting to notify impacted families in the coming weeks. Also today, the ACCC will carry out a detailed Phase 2 review of Insurance Australia Group's proposed acquisition of RAC Insurance in Western Australia. Regulators say the deal could combine 2 of the state's largest insurers and may affect competition in motor, home and contents cover, as well as smash repair services. Separately, the New South Wales government has finalised a rezoning plan for Riverstone Town Centre that could support up to 2,850 new homes and 1,200 jobs. The plan allows buildings from 2 to 15 stories and includes new retail and dining space, more than 10 hectares of open space, and major road and flood mitigation upgrades. In other news, the FAA is ordering fewer scheduled flights at Chicago O'Hare this summer, capping daily operations at 2,708 from May 17th through October 24th, 2026. Officials say the move is meant to reduce delays and cancellations after peak day schedules climbed to 3,080 flights and less than 60% of arrivals and departures were on time last summer. Turning to another story, the IMF says Asia Pacific entered 2026 with resilient growth, but rising energy prices tied to Middle East conflict are now creating headwinds for the region. The fund expects growth to slow from 5% in 2025 to 4.4% in 2026 and 4.2% in 2027, while inflation rises before easing. And finally, NSW SES crews rescued a pilot trapped after a light plane crashed in a paddock at Barima in the Southern Highlands. Crews stabilised the wreckage, used hydraulic tools to free the pilot, and the pilot was treated on scene before being airlifted to hospital. That is your evening briefing.